Hey guys, welcome back to our weekly live event. It's good to see everybody again. This week, we're going to go over your questions. We had a lot of questions coming in, so I want to make sure that we can answer them all. It's hard to go into DMs and answer every single one, but this is the opportunity to answer all your questions. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Hope you guys got those PS5s. I just saw someone buy a PS5 out at Panera Bread for like $1,000. So, if you guys got those PS5s, I'll buy one. I'm actually thinking about doing a PS5 giveaway too. So, if I buy it, I'll give it away. What's up, guys? Good to see everybody. What's going on, guys? What's up, Fiona? What's up, Tad? So good seeing everybody again. Today I'm going to be going over your financial questions, any questions that you have. I'm going to be going over what I'm seeing right now on the construction side of the business, and trying to get you guys prepared for next year. So I'm going to give it a minute for everyone to kind of jump on, and then we'll go into the questions. I dig the Christmas spirit. I mean, I love Christmas. It's one of my favorite holidays, so I like it. It's like looking at it, right? I'm looking at the screen and I'm looking at it, like doesn't look like it's real. It looks like I'm like in front of a backdrop, but like it's real. It's a real tree. Took my wife a lot of work to get it up. Hey, what's up, man? Ishmael Gibson. I have a couple of clients with the last name Ishmael. Hey, what's up, Soar? What's going on, guys? George, first time I get to see you live. George, I appreciate all the love. I appreciate you watching all my stuff on YouTube. More good stuff coming. Next year is going to be a great year, so more good stuff coming. And there's another George. Hey, George, are you going to buy Manny Koshman's course? At this point, I'm not planning to buy Manny Koshman's course. I have a pretty good idea of what he does. I'm actually part of the Real Estate Guys Radio Mastermind group. I submitted for that one, and that's about $50,000 for that mastermind group. So I'm planning to work on that stuff. I'm planning to go to that side of things. I mean, I like commercial real estate and I want to get into commercial real estate, but I want to take it from the Real Estate Guys position, the Robert Kiyosaki angle of real estate. I'm not looking to do it the Manny Koshman way. Manny Koshman way works fine, but that only works if I'm planning to do it by myself and only me. If I'm planning to bring other people on and have like a team of investors and we'll go do things together, there's other steps we have to take as well. And Manny's style is how it works if I was by myself and only me involved. If I'm planning to bring other people along, I kind of can't. It's not 100% made for that style of investing. So currently I do everything on my own. All the properties I own are my properties. I don't really have anybody else involved. The first time I took on an investor was about 6 months ago on my last deal. Prior to that, I never actually had anybody partner with me on deals. They're all my own deals. But I want to grow, and I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity coming next year. So I really want to grow and grow aggressively next year. So the best way to grow is to partner with the right people. So that's where my focus is. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity next year. I'm actually looking at a couple of commercial properties. They're asking 6 caps, 7 caps, but they're fully rented triple net leases. So it's really awesome. Fully rented triple net leases, long terms. There's going to be some opportunity out there. Just because commercial real estate is going to go down, is going to suffer, doesn't mean every single piece of commercial real estate is going to do that. And that's what we get paid for. Our job is to find the properties that need work, or in the sense, the ones that need to be rehabbed and done and that are profitable. But we're also finding the ones that are in good conditions in a suffering class. So what am I trying to say here? In the rental property game, I'm going to find a diamond in the rough in a great neighborhood, and I'm going to renovate that property and rent it out to residential individual, right? Residential real estate. That's a strategy for that market, and it works. Another strategy is, in this current economy that's going to come, is commercial real estate is going to suffer a lot. And the whole market is going to is going to hurt because certain sectors are doing very bad, but even the ones that aren't doing bad are going to suffer a little bit. So commercial real estate, for example, retail real estate, it's not going to do that well. But that doesn't mean every piece of commercial real estate is bad. So because the market overall for commercial real estate is going to suffer, let's say on average, the cap rates are 5 caps for those type of properties. Well, you're going to start seeing really good properties for 6 caps and 7 caps. The higher the cap rate, the more cash flow you get on that deal. So you're going to be able to buy a 7 cap property or a 5 cap property at a 7 cap. So that means you're going to make a lot more money on that deal for a very conservative deal. Now, again, you must do your due diligence and find those good deals. But the point is, that's a great opportunity, because when things go back to normal and they go back to 5 caps, you should have about a 40% increase for nothing. You didn't do anything to get that 40% increase. Now, when we're saying a 40% increase on the total value, but you only put down 25%, that means at minimum, if rents don't go up and nothing else happens, you're going to make 100 and probably 150% on your money, ignoring rent increases. So that means you're going to make a great return, and possibly, say, in a 5-year window, you could triple your money with rent increases included. So, and that's not even counting the rent you're going to make. So it's a great opportunity. You're just going to make sure that you're finding the right properties. So George says, so you will be more like a private equity? Yes, I am looking to do more like a private equity or joint ventureship type of deals. Now, it could be joint ventureships if it's 6 partners or less, but if it's over 6 partners, then it might be like private equity, and we're going to do SEC filings and so on. There's GPs and LPs. I'm in a full, above board, making sure everything's, accurate and meets all the requirements. And I think it's because that is the best way to go about it, to make sure everyone is satisfied. If you're going to be putting in, because my goal is to do hundreds of millions of dollars in deals. If someone's putting in $1 million, $2 million, $5 million in a deal, they want to feel comfortable. So I want to make sure we're doing everything right to make everybody feel comfortable. So let's get into the questions. I bought my house 3 years ago for $390K. Similar houses in the area are selling for $540K. Should I sell? I'm trigger LINY. Personally, I would sell. I would sell. So that's just me. I would sell. But again, if it's your primary residence and you don't have anywhere else to go, and you're not planning to move for the next 5 or 10 years, then it won't matter. You shouldn't really sell. In that position, I would probably cash out refi. And if you need to do a refi, give me a call. I do lending. And get yourself at a 70% loan to value, get a low payment, low interest rate, and then we'll get a home equity line of credit and extract as much equity as you can out of the home, sit on the cash, and have that cash ready for the next deal. So in some scenarios, you can get up to 100% out of your home. So it's almost like you're renting from yourself. And that's a good way to do it. Now, what I'm seeing in the future is that obviously, the cost of construction keeps going up. So be careful that things that used to be a good deal are not a good deal anymore because of the cost of construction. So be prepared to understand that right now, the cost of properties are going up. I don't think that's going to last forever, but They're currently going up. The cost of construction is going up. I think that is going to go up, and I think it's going to stay high for a while. Costs of rent are going to go up, and the cost of labor is going up. So once the cost of property stop going up, you must be prepared quickly to readjust and lower your offer price when you're buying property. Because if you pay too much on the property, you make your money in the buy. If you pay too much of the property and then you add up on all your renovations, when you're trying to sell it, you might just break even. And you don't want to break even because your closing costs are roughly 7%. You got about 6% in realtor fees. You got 1% in miscellaneous closing costs. You need to make sure that you're getting the proper amount of money on your deals. Otherwise, it won't be financially beneficial. All right. Brum Landscaping says, I'm new to your talk about taps. Can you please explain what are caps? Cap rate is capitalization rate. Capitalization rate is how you determine that is you take the total income a property generates in the year. Let's just say the property makes $100,000 in a year. You subtract the taxes, the insurance, the maintenance, vacancies, whatever the expenses are. And after all those expenses, let's just say you're left with $60,000. And you take that, so now you made $60,000 in that year after all expenses. I did not include the mortgage. Now, you divide the $60,000 by what you purchased the property for, and you have to run that scenario as if you paid all cash. So if you paid $1 million cash for this property, 60,000 divided by $1 million cash equals 6%. 6% is 6 cap, 6% capitalization rate. Now, that's different from your cash on cash return because your cap rate is making believe you're paying all cash for the property. In reality, you're not really going to pay all cash. You're only going to put down, say, 25%. Well, a cash on cash return is your gross income minus your expenses minus your loan amount. That remaining figure, when we'll just say it's $20,000 a year, you divide that by your cash down payment in the property, which is your 25% plus your closing costs. So we'll say that in that scenario is $300,000. So you divide 20,000 by 300,000, and you would get roughly like 6.7% cash on cash return on that deal. Yeah, I think about 6.7%. So I usually prefer to have cash on cash deals over 10. But if you start going after bigger deals, if you go after multi-million-dollar deals, the cash on cash return is very hard to get over 10. Normally you're in the 8 to 10 range. Tony says, I'm new as well, what he said. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed the answer. If you have any questions, respond, let me know. I want to give you as many details as possible. What's up, DJ? DJ's been following me since like day one, since like 3,000 followers. How to start in real estate. So when I was 14, I fell in love with real estate. I started studying everything I could. By the time I was 19, I was able to figure out how to do it on my own. My dad wouldn't co-sign me when I was like 16. So I could have bought my first property then, but he didn't want to co-sign. So at 19, I was able to finally do my first deal. It was a duplex. Lived on one side, rented out the other, bought it as a homeowner property, put down 20%. I could have just put down 3.5%, but I wanted to put down 20%. Didn't want to pay in PMI. Either way works. You know, if I was going to go back and do it again, I probably would not put down 20%. I probably would put down 3.5% and probably got a 4 unit instead of a 2 unit because it just makes sense. And I would have bought in a better area. I wouldn't have tried to save money and buy a cheaper duplex, $140,000 duplex. I would have tried to go after a 4-plex and maybe paid $100,000 unit and be in a great area. Because area, location is always key. What do you think about REITs? I think REITs are fine, but you're missing a lot of the benefits of investing in real estate if you're in a REIT. You're not really getting the depreciation benefits and all those other benefits as a real estate investor. But if you're in a real estate like syndicate, you'll still get a lot of the benefits passed through to you through a K1. So you can get the benefits of a REIT and benefits of being a small investor kind of in this other option, which is real estate syndications. So those are what I'm looking to do. And you get the best of both worlds, in my opinion. How do I start? I'm in real estate at 15. Well, honestly, you have to be 18 to buy a property. So at this point, you need to study. So watch all my videos, understand how the business works, understand how to value. It's the same thing like you're gonna value a company on the stock exchange and say, okay, well, right now it's trading less than what it's truly worth. So you invest in it and you wait for it to go up. The same thing with real estate, except if it's trading less than what it's worth, you can go yourself and force appreciation and make it go up faster and then resell it quicker. Or refinance, get your cash out and continue holding at rent with almost little to no money in it, called BRRRR method. Look at my YouTube account for definitions of BRRRR method and different explanations. How big is your anaconda? A duplex would be ideal to invest in a first property at 3.5. To be honest, I bought my first duplex, I put down 20%. Try to go with as many units as you can in the best area you can, and then from there determine how much you can afford for down payment. Now, just because the minimum down payment is 3.5 doesn't mean you should only save 3.5%. That's very, very bad. You should have 20, 25% down, and then choose to only put down 3.5 because you have the extra money to fix and upgrade the property. Or if the tenant leaves, you still have money to cover the rent. Amita says, you skipped my question. Where's your question? I don't see your question. You look like money. Looks good on you. Thanks. All right, Amita, where's your question? I don't see it. So, Amita, I don't see your question. So how about you resubmit that question and then I'll try to, would you cash out refinance on your primary residence? Yes. The answer is yes. And then after that, because you can only cash out refinance a certain amount, I would get a home equity line of credit and pull out the rest of the money. At that point, it's like you're renting from yourself because you have 100% of your money back out of the home and now you're paying the 2 mortgages. Well, it's as if you're paying rent to yourself and you have your cash to reinvest in other places. And I said, would I do that? I'm actually telling you, this is what I do. I am doing this right now. So I'm telling you what I am doing. So that's how I do it. George says, makes sense. Are you going to become a developer later on since you know very well the construction side of the business? So George, my goal is not to be a developer. Like initially I did have a goal of being a developer, but currently I'm not wanting to be a developer. If I have to become one, I will. I want to use my skills and maximize on my skills. I would love to find a developer that is good and that is reasonable on their prices and have them do the development side of things and me handle the investment side of the business. So they do the development, I handle the real estate side, and I have a property management company handle the property management. And if each one of us just focuses on what we do the best, we'll be able to grow together. And I don't need to try to step in my feet into what they're doing. But again, I will do it if I have to. Like right now, I do many things. We have a construction business. We have property management. We have the real estate business, insurance business, accounting and taxes, the consulting, the mortgage business. We have all these businesses. And obviously, I love what I'm doing. But there's a point that if you're doing all these things, there's only a certain amount of scale you're going to get, and there's only a certain amount of money you're going to get out of it because you're not big enough to make big money, a significant return. So at a certain point, it's better for you to scale back, focus on something, get to a certain level of efficiency of scale, get large enough to make the big money. Because if you look at it, what you're going to look back at what you're doing, George, and you're going to be like, wow, we did so much. And then you're going to calculate, this is the gross revenue. We did 10 million in gross revenue. But then you look at how much did I net? Well, I only netted like $500,000. And then you could think, well, if I didn't do this, and this, I would have maybe only grossed 4 million in gross revenue, but I would have made $1 million in profit. So you got to kind of balance it to say, okay, I still did the same number of deals, but because I gave away certain aspects of the job, so-and-so was able to do it faster and better and turn it around and to make more money. Now, again, at the same time, maybe you could still do 10 million in deals, but instead of being the developer, you could just be the asset manager and do 10 million in deals as an asset manager, doubling your volume, but reducing your averaging off your gross income. Because again, by being the developer and asset manager, you maybe would have done 10 million. Well, now you're just doing double the deals as an asset manager, giving up the development side and doing still 10 million, but your net profit's higher because you have an efficiency of scale and now getting to a certain level of scale so they could reduce costs. You can reduce costs. Everyone can reduce costs and increase their profit margins. So all those things kind of make sense. Like when I opened up my mortgage company, I said, I need to do 10 deals a month. If I'm not closing 10 mortgages a month, it's not worth me opening this company up because I need enough to cover marketing, covering overhead, covering sales staff. And at 10 deals a month, it's just enough for me to make sense for me to start doing it. Now, my goal is to get to about 40 deals a month. And then from 40 deals a month, we're going to look at closing 100 deals a month. That's my goal. And that's the track for the goal. And eventually from 100, we'll grow larger from there. So it really is, those are what I'm keeping in mind. So remember, sometimes, and I did this, and I'm giving you this piece of advice because I'm trying to have you guys see what I did and grasp it and keep an eye on it so you don't get caught up in it. If you're doing 5 things, it is difficult to be profitable in all 5. Now, if you're an Elon Musk and you have $40 million or 40 million, was it? No, it was like $400 million, whatever it was, when he sold PayPal. And he put 100 million this company, 100 million that company, 100 million, like 3 or 4 companies. Okay, now you have enough money to build a whole team and scale up. And then from there, he also got investor money on top of that. When you're by yourself and you have no money to put into a business, you're now the labor of the business. How are you going to do 5 businesses, be the labor, be the marketing, be everything, and make a lot of money? It's really difficult to do that. It's really unlikely for a person to succeed. You can maybe do 3 things. Past 3 things, it's not happening. And really past 2 things, you're not really doing much. You're not growing. You're basically having yourself 3 jobs. Hey, I'm doing Uber Eats, and I'm trying to build an Amazon business, the 3 things, right? But at the end of the day, nothing comes off the ground because you don't have enough time to focus your energy on it. Like when I start a new business, I'm putting almost 100 hours a week in that new business. Like seriously, morning to night, I'm putting into that new business to get it off the ground. And that's really what it takes. That type of crazy focus and attention to that laser vision to make it really grow. It's a baby. It needs that energy. Now, if you don't have that energy, you better have money because you need to pay people to put in enough energy. And they're never going to work as hard as you. So if you could do 100 hours, you're going to have hire 2.5 people to do the same thing you did to get the same result. So that's the big difference. People don't understand. It takes 2.5 people to replace the owner. Now, what are you doing at that point? You're doing what's necessary to become successful. And you're doing what's necessary to make your business successful because it's your baby. You want it to grow. You want it to do well. So what I'm trying to say is if you do too many things and you divert your focus way too much, it's going to be very difficult for you to be successful. So right now, when I started the mortgage company, I said, if I'm going to do it, I need to focus this much money, this much time, this much energy to make sure it's successful. I spend like $8,000 a month on mailers for the mortgage company, so That's just that. That's not even overhead. That's not anything else. That's not staff. All right. Okay, so George says, if you have no cash at all, would you recommend using a 401k loan to pay 20% down on a multifamily home? So George, you can't take a loan out of your 401k to put down 20% on your investment property. What you can do is, right now, you're allowed to take up to $100,000 out of your 401k for COVID reasons. And you can also take a $100,000 loan out of your 401k for COVID reasons. But if you buy a rental property with that money and you do a proper cost segregation model for depreciation, then you could be able to write off the tax consequences you're going to have from taking money out of your 401k. Now, obviously, you're not going to know how to do that. You need a professional tax advisor, expert to do this. And my company knows how to do this. You can also roll your money out of your 401k into a self-directed IRA and buy real estate through that. Also, you're not going to know how to do this. My company knows how to do this. So we handle this for our clients, and you can also choose to roll that money into one of our investments when we have an opportunity that comes up. Currently, we don't have anything available. There's almost no property that I found that are worth buying, in my opinion. When I do find something that's worth it, I'll let you guys know. But you'll be able to roll money out of that, roll it into our deal. The taxes you would have to pay on the money you pulled out, we would be able to do a cost segregation model on our investment and be able to pass along the deductions to yourself to help offset a lot of the tax liability, and maybe even all of the tax liability from the withdrawal out of your 401k. Again, we will have to look at it as a case-by-case basis. I can't say a flat answer for everybody, but in many scenarios, we'll be able to wipe off most, if not all, the tax liability. So the other George says, so you will have a partner, or will you try to stick with a company that you like? I could have a partner, I could have a company. I could have a company that I consistently use and give them a partnership cup based off of performance. Like if they do very well and they get the project done under time and under cost, whatever money they save me under the cost, I can say, all right, well, we're going to throw you saved me $500,000 on this $20 million project. We're going to give you $500,000 credit towards the ownership equity of this deal. We'll give you, 2.5% for that because you saved us money. So, you could cut it any way you want to cut it. All right. George also says Elon had 180 million, 11% of the 1.5 billion of PayPal. Goals. All right. Nico has some questions. Let's go live. Hey, what's up, Nico?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing. I got jealous of your Christmas tree, and I had to be right next to mine too.
Awesome. Looks good.
Hey, good to see you, man.
Good to see you too. How you doing?
Doing well. I've been missing your lives. A lot of things going on here, but finally today I was able to jump in. I was like, oh, let me take advantage and I ask a very good question that I'm thinking here to see if it makes sense to your knowledge or not.
Go ahead.
All right, so I've come across a couple deals that is owner financed.
Okay.
So what happens is that I'm trying to build some wealth here, and of course, based on my finances, I'm limited to what I can do because of course I don't have that cash money to spare, but I'm just leveraging my credit with the banks.
Mm-hmm.
So I came across those couple deals that people are selling the house. Okay, it's just slightly below market, maybe 5% below market, and they're doing the owner finance. So of course, when they do the owner finance, it's not going to be on the 3 points or 4 points. I've found a couple other deals in the 10, 11%, which is outrageous. But I did find one deal that is 8.5 and a half that they're doing it. So that doesn't go to my credit. That doesn't play into my debt ratio income. And what I'm trying to do, we did some Airbnb business, which, if you fully, have an exclusive house doing that on a monthly basis, you're looking about give and take if you have 90 to 95 reservations or occupancy every month, which it's about right, 9 to 95%.
It depends on your market, because my market's not. My market's 55% occupancy rate.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, my market's 55% occupancy. So again, it's not flat, and it's not as easy as people make it seem that it is this way. And Airbnb is not a side hustle. Airbnb is a job. It is work. You are on top of it. You are answering questions. You are setting it up. You are creating a business. So don't think of it as a side hustle. Like, I'm saying it is good. When it's good, it is good. When it's bad, it's bad. When you're making money, you're making money. But if you're not, you're not. But again, let's remember, it is a business. It is not a passive income stream. It's not like a rental property where you buy it, you rent it to a tenant, and you might not hear from the tenant for 3 years. It is, you're renting it out, in every day to 2 to 3 days, someone new's coming in, someone new's leaving. New coming in, new leaving. You got to make sure the cleaning people are cleaning it, make sure everything's going on. If something breaks, it gets replaced. It's a job. So when you account it as work, as a job, and you calculate the time and the return you're getting, it's not that great. For me, when I calculated it, I said, if I'm not going to be able to scale up to like at least 10 Airbnbs, it's not worth it for me.
Okay.
Because again, it has to make a certain amount of money for me to waste my energy on it. Otherwise, I could just work more hours, do something else here or there, and make the same amount of money. Like, it needs to make sense, right? Like, I've done a lot of things because it's really cool and exciting. But at the end of the day, like, all right, I need to be cool and excited and make money. So breaking even, a wash, doesn't really help a lot. Now, you've asked multiple questions within one thing. You talked about Airbnb. You talked about doing not paying points. You're buying a house and getting owner financing and whatever. Location, location, location. So if you're not in a good location, forget everything, because it doesn't matter what kind of deal you're getting. When the market goes down, if the location is not good, the property is going to suffer bad. Okay. Now, if you're getting an 8.5 rate, initially that might not be that bad if you can then refinance to a more conservative loan. I mean, I'm doing investment property loans for 1 to 4 family properties, and the last one we did was 2.875, 30-year rate as an investment property. So, I mean, obviously you'd save money right away by buying it, waiting 6 months to 12 months to refinance. But again, I don't like single family homes. I've said it 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000 more times. I don't like them. They're extremely hard to become profitable. There's only a few places that really it's decent, and it's still not great, because in that same market, if they got a fourplex, it would be even better. So why spin your wheels? Because the idea in this rental property game, where I'll buy a condo, practice, and then get to a duplex or a fourplex, theoretically sounds like a good idea. In practicality, that is a bad way to do it, because your first loan is easiest. Every loan after your first loan, it gets harder and harder to get a loan. So don't make it harder.
Let me ask a question really quick. Do you say that is the hardest because of the debt to ratio, that it gets higher and higher?
Debt to income ratio gets higher and higher. Now, for example, you're going to say, well, Pascal, this guy's going to give me owner financing. And I'm going to say, Nico, your debt to income still counts, because just because it doesn't show up on your credit score, when they audit your financials, when they check your bank account, and they say, let's see how much money this guy made, and then they're going to see in your Schedule E, there's an interest expense associated to that rental property. They're going to say, okay, well, tell me how much is a monthly payment. Now that's going into your debt to income ratio. Now, if you're refinancing that property and lowering the payment, the debt to income ratio should become better, because now you're going from an 8% rate to a 3% rate, 2% rate. So it should work. But don't get caught up in the mix. Like I told you before, first thing you should do, refinance your house, make your home mortgage payment lower, because your big trip up I see with people having is their DTI is too high that they cannot get the second property. First thing you do is refinance your first mortgage. Then you get a home equity line of credit so you have more cash. Now you have more cash to put down payment on your next investment property. And because your first two loans are so low, it should become easier to get the next loan for the next rental property. And it's easier to cash flow a multi-unit property. I know multi-unit properties cost more than a condo or a house sometimes, but the cash flow is higher and the expenses are lower and you net out more money. So your DTI is actually going to become stronger in that scenario. Now it sounds counterintuitive, but if you run the numbers come out that way. If you're not a numbers person, just take my word for it. A majority of the time, you're going to be better off in a multi-unit. Extremely rare have I seen you ever be successful in a condo. 99.9% of the time, condos are not profitable to invest in. Additional money.
Yeah, but on the first house, I don't know if you remember now. I got a couple on the first house. It's almost like, I worked the numbers out before last year, or well, actually it was beginning of this year, March. And when they run the numbers, they say, hey, it's not going to make sense. You have probably like, well, after the 20%, because you can only do the refi by 80%, right? Whatever's in excess to the 80%.
Yeah, you should do 80%. Sometimes you should only do 70% on your refi on your home, but then you get a home equity line of credit for the rest of the money.
Yeah, I mean, it was at the time. Well, it still wasn't enough. It was maybe 20K. That says, hey, that's how much you can pull off, because we purchased the property like 2 years ago.
Yeah. So now again, I'm not telling you to put cash out of so your house. You should not take cash out. You should not do a cash out refinance. What I'm saying is you do a rate and term refinance and get your first mortgage to like 2.75 or 2.5% interest rate. Like, what is your current interest rate?
On the primary or on the rental?
Primary.
It was I think 3.5 or 3.75.
Okay, and what is your mortgage amount?
320.
320. So that means if you lower your interest rate 1% to 2.75, you would save $3,200 a year in interest, which is roughly $300 a month. Now, at that point, you can try to go get you have your debt to income lowered $300 a month. At that point, you go and look at getting a home equity line of credit. The home equity line of credit would be easier to get, one, because now you have the lower monthly payment. And then two, you would be able to afford it easier, because I think I just said it. So anyway, so then you get the home equity line of credit for the additional cash. You don't do it. If you owe 70% or more, doing a cash out refinance, I have not seen many scenarios for it to make sense.
Right.
You would just do a regular rate and term and get that 2.75 rate while you can. Okay, now that you're saving that money, how much are you paying on your rental property?
Mortgage is about 18, no.
What is the loan amount and what's the interest rate?
The loan amount is maybe like 215 now, and the interest rate on that one's at 3.75.
So that one can also go to 2.75, and they would save $3,150 a year in interest. So that's potentially another $250 a year. So between the two, you could save $550 a month, or say $6,000 a year. So $6,000 a year is like getting 2 more rental properties.
Right.
Just think about that. You would need probably 2 more rental properties to net an extra $500 to your pocket. So again, what did I say earlier? Guys, don't have 5 businesses trying to make you money. Try to have 3 businesses making you more money. And in this scenario, Nico could just refinance his house and refinance his rental property, pull no cash out, lower the monthly payments, and free up $500 a month in cash flow. And even if it's just $400 a month cash flow, that's $4,800 a year. That's something. 10 years, it's $50,000. That's a faster way for Nico to get to the next rental property, because he might say, well, Pascal, I can't save up enough money for me to get a $500,000 property. Well, if you're saving an extra $5,000 a year, that's more money to save up quickly and add up with your other money to be able to get to the next rental property.
But how about the cost of the loan? Isn't it almost about $10K for each loan and fees and all?
No, normally it's like $5K, but you bundle that in, you roll that into the loan.
I see.
So you bundle that in, you roll it into, so it's not money out of your pocket. It should roll into the loan. And why it looks like you're paying 10K is because roughly 5K of that is your taxes and your insurance escrow. But when you're paying in the money to your new escrow, your old escrow is giving you back that same 5K. So that 5K ends up being a wash. So, and next thing is this, guys, I do not escrow any of my properties. You're going to actually free up more cash to use during the year by not escrowing. You just have to be very good at managing your money. Because if your escrow right now, I'm going to estimate that your escrow is probably at least $300 per property. So that means you're giving the bank $600 a month, and they're holding your money to pay your taxes and insurance. That's $7,200 a year that they're borrowing from you, and you're getting no interest for it. Well, it's better for it to be in your savings account. You choose to use it how you want to float your business.
Can you just escrow the tax and not the insurance, or no, it's not an option?
You can, but it's not worth it, because the taxes are higher than insurance. So now they're still holding a large sum of money. Like right now, my escrow would be like $70,000. I don't want them to hold $70,000. I'd rather keep the taxes and insurance and the money, and I'll use it. You know, I'll use it how I need it, and then I'll pay it one shot when I need to. So, you know, so yeah, it's definitely, again, the strategy is really the steps. The steps is what's important, right? There's certain steps you need to take to make sure you're doing everything right. Because if you don't go into the right step, you're eventually going to get to a sticking point and you can't grow. And then you're going to try to go backwards to do a refinance, and you might get denied because they'll be like, oh, your debt to income ratio is too high. You're like, but if you give me my refinance, I won't be too high. You're like, well, there's this problem and there's that problem. And I know right now you're getting paid $1,000 a month. Well, because of the new COVID guidelines, we can only use 90% of that $1,000 or 75% of that $1,000 income. So you're like, oh, well, of course I can't afford this loan because you took away my profit. They're like, well, tough. You already accounted for a vacancy ratio because you were vacant for a month. On top of that, they're going to add another vacancy ratio on top of it. You're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. So it's going to make it harder for you to get financing in the future, even if you in the future go back and say, hey, I want a lower interest rate on my mortgage. So if you go out of order, you're going to hit a sticking point. Now, I know you're like, oh, man, but it doesn't make sense. I still feel like I'll be able to do it. I know it feels that way. The problem is when you get to the point of really testing the issue, you can't fix it. You'll be stuck for another 3 or 5 years before you can actually go around that problem.
I feel that you can probably get a couple more because we're looking into a primary again because we're moving out and buying another rental. I feel that after that, it kind of your options exceeded, and then you have to do cash deals with refining all the other properties.
You don't have to. No, that's the way you're going about it. You're going to get stuck like that, and then you're going to be very stuck with how many you could do because you're doing it the wrong way. And I'm not trying to say it to hurt your feelings, Nico, but you're just doing it the wrong way. What's going to happen? You're right. The way you're doing it, you're going to be stuck. And now this is what you're saying. You're admitting that I'm right. You basically said, Pascal, I'm going to get stuck because I'm only going to be able to do cash deals. That's what I mean by stuck. Stuck means you will not be able to get more loans. Nico, you are right. You will get stuck because your plan is not good. I don't know how to say it. If you go my way, you will not get stuck. If you do what I'm telling you, refinance your house, get a home equity line of credit. Now you have cash. Refinance your rental property. You might need to refinance your house and rental property before they allow you to get a home equity line of credit. So now you refinance the house, lower payment, refinance the rental property, lower payment. You now have an extra $500 a month. You then get a home equity line of credit. You have a bunch of cash. And now you can go look for another deal, and a good one, not a bad one, because you have to understand, guys, it is very hard to get financing on a deal under $200,000. It's extremely hard to get financing on a deal under $125,000. You don't want to do those deals. You want to focus on deals that are over $200,000, over $250,000, probably closer to like $275,000 and up. If you don't focus on that minimum and higher, you're going to get yourself stuck. You're going to be very unhappy with not being able to grow. Avoid that problem. I know it seems like I want a deal so bad. Let me buy this condo. Let me buy this $100,000 house, $150,000 house. Try to avoid that and go for the 275 deal. Especially, Nico, in your position, you're not someone that doesn't have the money and capability. You already have a house. You already have one property. You can grow, but you're now just shooting lower and lower and lower and lower. Don't shoot lower. Aim higher. Have faith. You'll be able to do it. I'm telling you, you'll be able to do it. I've talked to you enough. You're smart enough to do it, but you're looking down. And you can't see the good deals looking up because you're too busy looking down. You know? So don't look down. Look up. You're going to find it. But you must prepare yourself for success.
Got it. Awesome, man. It's always a relief talking to you.
Run the numbers on paper. If you spend the time and run the numbers, you're going to see Pascal's right. Because I'm right. I've been there. I've done it. I've already gone through it.
I haven't put the trigger on the refi now. Now we're talked. I'm just like holding back until the now December passes to see, what's going to happen here. But
the thing is, let me ask you this, because we've been talking about doing the refi. And I already told you I'll do it for you. You've been asking me to do it. I finally am able to do it in Texas, and then you're like, I'll think about it. So because I don't understand what you would benefit of waiting.
No, so here's the deal.
Okay.
So now December, we're pulling the trigger on the third property anytime soon. I'm just trying to find. It might be either a rental, which the down payment is already there, or it's going to be the primary. So I want to do the primary because they're going to do the 5% on the rental. I found a bank that can do 15% on a rental. So what I want to do like.
What bank is doing 15% on a rental?
How big?
What bank?
Oh, it's a credit union of Texas.
And they do 15% down on a rental?
Yeah, they fund their own loans.
And what is the interest rate?
Well, it's a little higher though. If I do the 20%, it's going to be on a rental. It's going to be 3.8 or a little higher.
Mm-hmm.
But if I do 15%, they're looking at 4.25.
Mm-hmm.
On the 15%.
Okay.
Which is not bad. Okay, so I was looking into a lakefront house like last week, $300K. It needed about $50K of renovations. It's a 1.25 acre land. I mean, the land was amazing. It's just that, putting $60,000 down, it's a lot of money for the rental. Plus another 50 to renovate the property. And I said, man, that doesn't sound, I'm depleting all my resources right there. So I found this bank and they say, hey, we can do 45 instead of 45. Now we can do 15% instead of 20%, which we're looking at. So it's 45K. Is that right? 15% down out of 300,000?
Plus closing costs, yeah.
Plus closing costs, right. So they said, we can do it instead of you putting the whole 20%, which the difference between the 15 and 20, the 5% would help me to do the renovation. And it's just a point. Actually, it's barely a point, 0.9. So it makes sense to me, to do 15% as opposed to the 20%. But I went there, talked to the realtor. I didn't want to get my realtor into, the deal because it was such a great deal. So I went to their deal, to their realtor, and what they're doing something crazy that I never heard of. Because the house needed some renovation, the bank will not approve the loan. Because once they come, the bathrooms were not done. The house had holes on the floor. It needed to be re-floored. So what the seller is doing, the seller allowed the buyer 25 days option period, so they can renovate the bathroom to pass the inspection. And I never heard that because the banks, they're not going to give the loan if the house is on a bad shape.
Yeah, otherwise they're going to be stuck, because if they don't do it, the only person that's going to be able to buy the property is an investor.
Cash.
So, cash or hard money loan. So they know I'm going to have to discount the property $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. Otherwise, I might as well just spend $10K, do it, and not discount it $50K. I mean, it's smart on their end to do it.
Yeah, I mean, they're working out, the realtor already knew. When I walked to the house and I saw no flooring, the bathroom had no toilet. I mean, it wasn't like super bad. It was like, 40 to 50K. Okay, we're not talking about major. It's only a 1,700 square feet property. The structure was there, the walls were there, the roofing was there, the flooring, 80% was there. But they knew, on a conventional or even on FHA, it was not going to fly. And I talked to the realtor and I said, why you guys put on the MLS? And they said, well, we're looking for a little investor. And I said, that doesn't work on the MLS because most of the people you're looking there, they're asking for top dollar. The land is 1.25, but the house is worth probably like 60K. So it wasn't, they're selling more the land value as opposed to the structure itself. But, I was trying to work that out, put the 45 down and then, work the 30, 40K renovation. But it didn't work because this lady stepped ahead of me, one day. And when I talked to the realtor, they were already writing the contract.
It happens, you got to be ready for it. But then again, you have to put yourself in a good position. That's what I'm saying. If you did the cash out, if you did the refinance on both the properties, you freed up, money per month, and then you got the home equity line of credit. You got more cash in your pocket. You're going to feel more confident to do a deal. If you had $500 more a month freed up, you're going to feel more comfortable if you have this property that's not making you money for a short period of time while you're renovating it or while it's not being Airbnb. The number one thing you got to do is lower your expenses. Now, lowering your expenses in your scenario is doing refinances and lowering your monthly payment on your properties. Someone else, lowering your expenses could be stop buying Starbucks. Cancel some of the subscriptions to the things that you're not really using. Stop spending monies in ways that are not benefiting you. Maybe stop eating lunch and make lunch at home and bring it with you. Because all this stuff adds up, guys. If you don't spend $10 a day at lunch, you make your lunch at home, you save $200 a month, that's $2,400 a year. You do the same thing for Starbucks, that's another $2,400 a year. That's $5,000 a year you're saving. All these things add up. Eventually, again, if someone asks me, Pascal, do you not eat out? Yeah, I eat out. But when I wanted to buy properties, I didn't eat out. When I wanted to buy properties, I didn't get Starbucks. Now I do what I want, but back then I didn't. I did what I needed to do to get to my goal. So at the end of the day, there might be certain things that you guys don't want to do, and there's certain ways you want to do things. Forget all that. What you need to do is find out, what do I have to do to get to my goal? Here's my goal. How do I get to this goal? Okay. Go backwards, backwards, backwards. And then like, all right, well, now I went backwards. These are the steps I have to take. These steps are probably not what you want to do. These are the steps you have to do to get to your goal. And that's how I did it. I went backwards. I asked people's advice and I said, okay. And some of these decisions are very hard because they're not what you want to do and you're not what you're used to. But you're like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. What I'm telling you to do, Nico, is not what I wanted to do. Right? I didn't I don't want to refinance and spend $5,000 and roll it into my loan. Conceptually, because we're like, oh, I just added $5,000 to my loan. That doesn't matter. What matters is you lowered your monthly payment. And then, oh, I got the next deal. All right, then I have to do it again. I don't feel comfortable. All right, well, whatever. I'm going to do it again. Now I got another deal. Well, after I get a couple of deals, now I understand, okay, this is just part of the business. I just keep doing it. Keep doing it. It's just part of business. It is what it is. You're like, well, I don't want to do it. Then don't be in the business. It's like saying like, I hate cooking, but I want to own a pizza shop. All right, either you're going to own the pizza shop or you're going to pay someone else to do it, but you're going to have to do it. It's part of the business, So, any other questions for me, Nico?
No, so we're going to do it. Just let me find the deal first. So
Nico, what did I just tell you? You didn't hear what I said. So let me repeat what I said. The reason why you are not aggressive, on that deal is because you are not comfortable. And how do you make yourself comfortable? By making your personal finances stronger, lowering your expenses, and then getting a home equity line of credit to put more cash in your pocket. Now we have lower monthly expenses and cash in your pocket. You feel strong, and you're going to be aggressive when the deal comes. Now, I'm not saying that's the last deal that's going to come by. Other deals are going to come. But if you want to be aggressive and go after and grab the deal, you have to be in a position where you're comfortable, and you have to make yourself comfortable. So you can't say, that's how 99% of people lose their deals. When I find a deal, then I'm going to get ready. No, the deal's not going to wait for you to get ready. The deal, why did that lady get it? The lady got it because she was ready for the deal. The deal didn't wait for her. She waited for the deal. You're not waiting for the deal. You're saying, let me find a deal, make it wait, and then I'm going to get ready. It doesn't work like that. Now, the other part is this. Say you're like, well, I don't want to get the home equity line of credit now, whatever. Okay, fine. There's nothing stopping you from lowering your monthly payments today. Because today you're going to lower your monthly payments. Today you're going to benefit. It doesn't matter if you find another deal later. Finding another deal has nothing to do with lowering your monthly payments today.
Right.
So that's it.
Got it. All right. So it's a refresh for the memory here.
I'm here for you, Nico.
All right, my man. We'll get together soon.
Yes. God bless you. I'll see you later.
Okay. Take care.
Bye. Nico's a smart guy. But sometimes we want to do things our way. And we got to get comfortable. If we're going to grow, we don't do things our way. We do it with the way that is best to get to our goals. So Tasha has a question. She says, I have a question. My fiance and his partner are trying to buy a property. The property has a storefront, liquor store to be exact, and 2 apartments on top. They are trying to do an FHA loan, but are being told that they have to own the liquor store to be approved for the FHA. Well, you can't do an FHA loan because you have to be owner occupied and you have to be primary of the owner. So you have to be occupying a majority of the property. So there'd be like 2 of the 3 units. So liquor store plus an apartment. They're not FHA. They might be able to do, and the thing is, it's not big enough to do a standard agency debt either. So you're in like a unique scenario. That's the problem, is if your deal is too small, you're too small for one group, and then it's too weird and unique for the other group, you're in this weird position where you're going to have to come up with like 25% down for this deal. Yeah, you're just in a very unique scenario. If you're going to have something this small, because again, liquor store with only 2 units is considered small, you would have to be the liquor store owner, and then that would help you, because then you can also go SBA. SBA only requires 10% down, but you need to own the liquor store. I refinanced my primary, saving $300. I have a rental at 3.3. Is it worth refinancing the 3.3? We've helped people get rates from between 1.99 to 2.99 on their refinance. It's hard for me to say. I need to know what your monthly payments is. I need to know how much the loan amount is. There's a lot of factors I need to calculate. Like if it's 3.3%, but your loan is like $1 million, then yeah, lowering it to 2.5 is going to be a lot of money. If it's 3.3, If it's 3.3 and you only owe like 100 grand, then it's probably not worth it for you to refinance to get to 2.5 because it matters. Like there's a lot of factors that come involved. All right, let's see here. I'm gonna answer a couple more questions and then we're gonna go. How about a house that has 2 units for 240K worth 300K? Well, that sounds pretty good. You're buying the house for 20% off. As long as there's nothing wrong, that's an awesome deal. But if it needs 60K worth of work and you got a 60K discount, well, that's not really an awesome deal. All right, guys. It's been awesome. I've been really happy to talk to all you guys. I hope you guys stay blessed, stay healthy, and enjoy this holiday season. And I will see you guys next week.